Hello, everybody. Captain Valen here for the 8th annual mental health stream. Today's topic is incredibly personal, incredibly powerful, and it's a really hard one for people to be open about. So, for this particular mental health stream, I don't have any guests, so I'll just be speaking of my own experiences. It'll be a little shorter than the series is used to, but I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to get through all the things I want to say or have thought to say in the past month. But the topic today is suicide, and as you can see, I have the National Suicide Helpline on the stream at all times. If you ever feel like you're not strong enough, or maybe you just need a little help getting up, don't be afraid to call somebody. It's better to call somebody than to have somebody never able to call you, is really what it comes down to. So, I guess, without much further ado, and as much as I want to procrastinate, I don't think I will. So, what I'm about to say, I've only said out loud a few times, and I don't think I've ever done it sober. So, there's that. But, for me, suicide is a very personal thing. It's something I've attempted numerous times, kind of played with dozens of more times. It's something that's been in my life since I was very young, and it's something that's influenced my entire thought process. So, I guess the best way to start is from the beginning, and that is when I was young, around 6 years old. I was still in Holmes, and my best friend at the time killed himself in the bunk above me, and we didn't find out until he bled through his mattress and onto me. And obviously, that is a particularly harrowing experience to have, and for somebody who doesn't have, especially during this time, didn't have friends or things like that. It destroyed me, and ever since then, I think I've just always had that thought. Like, I always knew that I was worthless. You know what I mean? Like, I grew up as property. Like, it's a weird thing to say, but I've been bought and sold dozens of times. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how else to put that. I don't really feel like super getting into it right now, but like the fact is I have been purchased and sold numerous times as a human being to other human beings. And I've just never had a sense of worth. And after my friend killed himself, I started to realize maybe I have an out, because things are different, but back in the day, 6-year-old kids didn't really have the thought to kill themselves. Suicide wasn't as prevalent in the media. It wasn't something that people spoke about even. Like, even the mention of, especially because I grew up in homes and stuff, even the mention of suicide was met with swift and punishing action. There was very little acceptance. There was very little understanding in the world that I lived in. It was very black and white, good and bad, wrong or right. And so I couldn't speak about, the dozens of times a day afterward that I would think about killing myself, or like that a 7-year-old is just staring into the water, wondering how long it would take to drown. Just a thought, an exercise of intellectual curiosity, just as much as it is a morbid inclination for death. In all honesty, I just didn't understand the concept, and it was forced. It was forced onto me, like so many other things in my life, that in a way that I couldn't stop, couldn't control, and had no way of turning back or gaining any sort of closure or reconciliation for. It's really hard, because since then I can't remember a day that I've thought that I've thought my life was worth living throughout the entirety of the day. I haven't found a way to go a single day without the contemplation of how much better everyone around me would be without me. And now that I have kids, it's a lot easier. I won't lie about that. I love my children more than anything you could even possibly imagine. Like, this is the first time I get to really experience familial love, and it's a harrowing, powerful experience, and it's one of the strongest tethers I have to this world. I can't express how much I love my children and how much that matters to me, and how much that keeps me alive right now, and hopefully for the foreseeable future. But I didn't even know until recently that how wrong I was. I've been going through therapy to try to get a handle on my worst demons, or whatever you want to call them. But I'm starting to realize how everything I think is wrong and how broken I am, and it feeds into this cycle of worthlessness, and the thought that it would 100% be easier for if I died. Like, I firmly believe after like 6 months to a year of mourning, anybody that I know would be past it. Except for Beth. Olkanashin won't. He wouldn't remember me, so he could get past that. And neither would Killing. So the only person I would really like devastatingly hurt is my wife, Bethany, and I never want to do that. But I live every day in a shit ton of pain. Not just emotional pain, but like every step I take is bone grinding on my Achilles tendon. Every time I move my knees, my back hurts. Everything is so fucking connected, and there's no end in sight to this pain, and it's only going to escalate. And these thoughts, they just fucking get on top of me, and like real shit, they're fucking heavy, and I try and shove them off one by one. I try to maintain the strength to keep taking those steps forward, but I'm a person. I'm a broken person. Like, fuck all that regular healthy person shit. Like, I'm a broken person who barely has their pieces strung together. And I'm just trying to figure out my way forward. And it's hard when every day, dozens of times a day, you are convinced, no matter how hard you try to fight it, that everyone around you would be better with you gone. And that's one of the things like about suicide, is the individual firmly believes that everybody would be better without them, that their existence meant nothing. And as hard and as that is, like, that's the truth to that person. You cannot convince that person otherwise. And I know the damage that suicide leaves behind. I've had a number of friends kill themselves, even recently. A close friend of mine who, like, she doesn't even know it, but she helped me not kill myself. The story of this goes, I was doing really bad in school. I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't have people I felt close to. I was just in a really bad space, and it was like towards around the time of my birthday. And once I started school, none of my friends fucking even like hung out with me anymore. Like, they hardly made any effort, and making new friends is hard. And there was just so much going on that I didn't, on top of all the other shit that I deal with daily, that I just didn't know if I had the strength. And then one day I saw my friend, and she just spontaneously was like, "Hey, you want to go shoot some stuff?" And yeah, we went out and we shot her AK-47 for like an hour and a half, just blasting shit. And like, just that little bit of caring, just that little bit of uninvited acceptance, that feeling of, oh, I didn't expect somebody to care, was enough to kind of like push me past that moment. And it is my eternal regret that I wasn't there to save her from that. And I moved away. I moved into like, I left everything behind. And when you do that, sometimes these kinds of things happen. Suicide is never the answer. I don't want anybody listening to this to think that that's where I am. I'm just explaining the mindset that I personally have on a daily basis. I'm not trying to glorify anything in what I'm saying. I'm just trying to express whatever the fuck is going on. Like, I am just learning about this. I'm just learning how wrong I am about my the entire way my fucking mind works. Like, I'm just beginning to understand the tip of the iceberg of the damage that's been done to me. And I'm 35. 1 second, I'm getting a message from somebody who is watching. It won't let me comment. What the fuck won't it let you comment? 1 moment, please. I have to check this out for my friend. And also, thank you, Marissa. I don't know if you wanted me to say your name or not, but like, I appreciate that you're here supporting and letting me know that there's an issue with the stream, because that shit happens. 1 moment, please. I have to. Yeah, I do not know why it is not letting me live chat. It could be just because of the topic. I may not actually get to upload this. This may be the only time this gets seen. So, thank you for even being here, for those that are here. And I appreciate anybody, yeah, I just appreciate it. Yeah, sorry, before I got sidetracked by the supportive comments, again, I was saying I don't want to glorify this. This is just something that people may not understand. And another thing I wanted to talk about is a person named Etika. If to anybody watching who doesn't know, Etika was a Twitch gamer, a Nintendo personality. He was like huge in the gamer space. He was a very troubled young man who was just overwhelmed by the scenario that he found himself in, and the people that loved him turned against him. Like, he spent years building up a fan base and a fandom and people he thought loved him. And when he needed help and like spoke out for that help, he found that it wasn't there. He found that people mocked him. He found that people would rather shit on him to make themselves seem cooler than to help him. And through multiple very obvious fucking cries for help, like super fucking obvious. I'm not even talking the last one where he's literally walking to kill himself. Like, you don't fucking get that. This man, like, he was so done with this and knew that nobody would stop or care enough that he live tweeted essentially his own fucking suicide. Like, do you understand that that's the world we live in, where somebody can do that and they'll be mocked the entire time? It wasn't until a fucking week later, where his body was found, that people started actually saying shit like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I was so down. The same people that spent months tearing this man down for having mental weakness, for just shitting on him for being human. They talk like they were his best friend, like, oh, I miss him so much. He was everything. I watched him every day, blah, blah, blah. But weren't you the same sons of bitches that were calling him a fake, a clout chaser, a fucking, all this fucking shit, right? But the second he died, he was confirmed dead. Everybody's tones changed. Like, oh, this was so this was so that. Everybody's so fucking sad. Yeah, it was a fucking horrible experience. But it was possibly fucking avoidable if people just took this shit fucking seriously. But nobody does. Nobody takes shit seriously until they find the body. And that's in any scenario. All right? That is any scenario. Like, I'm just going to bring this up because it happened, because I found out about it the other day. Kentaro Murata passed away, the mangaka for Berserk. And for like a year, people have been bitching about him to finish to keep putting out various chapters of Berserk. And now those same people are like, oh my God, I loved him so much. The same people who are like, just fucking do it. It's not that hard. Just draw pictures. Like, that's the shit. That's the shit that people don't realize sticks with people who have suicidal ideation. They realize they are absolved and deified in death in a way they could never be. Accepted in death the way they could never see. Like, that's the thing people don't get. When people have suicidal ideation and think about it a lot, they see how other people react to death differently. It's not, oh, I just want to die. It's, oh my God, maybe this is the way I can, like, no, heaven forbid somebody's like struggling with the concept of mediocrity. Like, I'm just going to be a worker ant my entire life and I can't wrap my head around that. And then this, like, it's an entirely avoidable situation if people actually had the compassion they pretended to have after the person died. That's the fucking thing. And when people who are struggling with just taking those steps every day just to keep themselves alive, oh, this should not be marked for kids. I don't know. I do not know how to change that, but this should not be marked for children. Well, you know what? Minus my coarse language, it should. The concept of suicide is introduced to children so young these days that the earlier you have a talk with them understanding the ideas and concepts and things, the easier it will be for them to, like, go through these things. Maybe have someone to talk to. Maybe not feel like they're fucking insane for feeling like maybe in this moment I should just throw myself off a bridge or bite a bullet or shove a knife into a socket or any number of the things that people who struggle with this think of. You know what I mean? I have personally, I've tried to strangle myself. I've tried to drown myself. I've done everything except for like super final shit. You know what I mean? I've jumped off tall structures and only like really fucking ruined my knees. Like, I've done a lot of things in the attempt to flirt with the concept of suicide from a very young age because it was forced into my life. And now that I'm an adult and I have to look back at this and I have to see the way, I have to look at my kids who are coming onto the same age that I was. My oldest is only 2 years away from the age that I was when suicide was forced into my life and everyday thought process. Like, that is such a hugely damning thing. It is a reprehensible evil to have inside your head all the time, to feel that not only you're not worth it, because I feel like that's human. Inadequacies are a very human part of existence. But to feel that you're not worth it enough that your existence needs to end, that's a whole different thing, and people need to be able to speak about it. And people need to be able to have the courage and strength and, I don't know, emotional fortitude to look at somebody who's like who's not even on the edge, who's just looking at that edge. You know what I mean? And just be like, hey man, you okay? You want to go shoot some stuff? You know, because that line saved my life. I'm not fucking joking when I tell you that. I was seriously fucking done. I was just going to throw myself into a cold river and let that be that. Like, I don't understand why in 2021 people still are only compassionate after the fact. Like, during somebody's crisis and trials, unless they're like intrinsically tied to that person, they are generally shit upon by the public. When a person goes through hard times, and the best example of this that has been kind of touted out over the past few years is Britney fucking Spears. She had a full breakdown from being abused for years. And all anyone did was shit on her. make sure that she felt worthless. Every tabloid on the planet just called her crazy and blah 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 blah, this, that, and the third, and it's absolutely how people react to mental health. And I will not hear fucking different. Because anytime in my entire life that I've had real mental strife and breakdowns or confided in someone, fuck, my ex broke up with me when I told her like some of the shit about my life. She said the words, "Oh man, you are way too fucked up with me. I can't be with you. You are way too fucked up for me. I can't be with you." Do you understand like how broken a person has to be to even be put in a situation where somebody thinks that, and then to fucking hear that? Man, I know that the world will always make the easy choice. That's just all there is to it. The world will always make the easy choice to hit you, to beat you while you're down, to hit you while you're weak, because that is what the world does. There is, unless you're already born into privilege, and I'm not talking like complexion privilege. We're not talking about that, because that did not come in until much later. I'm talking
thing is set to kids, so people.
I know. I was told I can't change it now. Thank you, though. That was my wife informing me that everything's set to kids, so people can't comment, and I did not know that. But I digress. She took me out of my brain for a second, so that happens. It's probably for the best. I was really ramping up there, but I'm trying to figure out like where and when. No, I got to be careful about the words I choose, and I know that. I feel that the world, that social media is probably the worst culprit for socially assisted suicide, in the sense of not only pressuring someone to kill themselves, but making somebody feel like that is their only option. Especially when I mentioned before about how people really only care after you're gone. Like, they will shit on your face and cry on your grave. Like, understand, that is I cannot think of a fucking truer statement other than the sun will rise and fall. You know what I mean? Like, people will shit on your face while you're alive and then cry on your grave when you're gone. Because that's what... Because people feel that's how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to judge somebody while they're alive and forgive them while they're gone. I personally don't believe that. As judgy as I can be, I believe that if people treated suicide and mental health the way they wanted themselves to be treated, it would be an entirely different situation. There would be like suicide help booths, not like in Futurama, but like just people to talk to around every fucking corner. But it's not. Compassion isn't cool. What's cool is shitting on everything. So that's what happens when people are hurt. And then those hurt people just shit on other people, and those people that got shit on by the hurt person shit on more people because they're hurt, and it becomes a never-ending fountain of fuckery. And that's really like the end cause of it. I've probably gone on with this shit a little more than I wanted to. And I think the next topic I want to talk about is the pandemic itself. And I want to speak on how not only has social media influenced suicidal culture, but how social media plays a role in the way that it's seen. I touched on it earlier when I mentioned that the way people speak before and after is viewed so staunchly different by people who struggle with this, that it really seems like not only like an option, but a good option. The only way they can get the feeling of power is by taking it from somebody else. And the second they see weakness, they try to take whatever power they have from that weak person. And that is fundamentally where we are. We're in a place where the only thing that matters is power. Weakness is pounced upon and fundamentally attacked. All right? Unless you are one of those people who is just fucking loved by dozens of people and you have a really great fucking support system, then maybe this fucking isn't for you. You know what I mean? That's not to say you don't have problems with suicide. I believe no matter what life you live, the desire to leave that life can come about. This is not about easy life, hard life, big house, little house. This is not that. All right? This is about some people can say, "Oh man, I stubbed my toe," and have 100 people ready to bandage their foot. All right? While somebody else can say, "Oh man, I stubbed my toe," and those same people will tell that person that they're being a whiny little bitch and need to go walk it off. That's the problem. People have selective compassion because they believe feeling good or bad about this person will benefit them in some way, than treating somebody like the idea has become so ingrained in the culture that our children, like my kids, fuck this, not to put you on there, but Marissa, your kid, all of the kids are going to have some notion of numerical worth about how many friends they have via this, that, or the other app, how many likes they get. The concept of that is going to be introduced so fucking young that they are going to feel that they are a number. They are only as good as their number. And don't think that shit is limited to kids. I've had grown ass fucking men, like dudes that I'm not naming names. I've been trying to not do that this whole thing, but grown ass fucking men have been like, just me interacting with you is helping you because my numbers are so high. Like, what kind of little dick mentality is that shit? And the same person will be like, "Oh, I treat a CEO and a janitor the same way." And it's like, no, the fuck you don't. Because I have seen you gargle a CEO's balls and then put your nose up at a janitor because you're somehow fucking better. All right, so you can, like, people with that mentality are becoming more and more prevalent in society. And through apps like Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all these things, the numerical value of the individual is becoming interchangeable with self-worth, which leads to, say, you know, say my son doesn't get any likes. For some reason, they don't love his beautiful hair, luscious lips, and all you can smile attitude. All right? Maybe they don't like it. And now he feels that because these things aren't celebrated the way, we'll say his friends, you know, curly hair and, you know, and green eyes are celebrated, that he isn't worth it. That for some reason what he is bad. And heaven forbid we start to bring race into this fucking conversation. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to do that, but I think we all know that that's a fucking big thing. Like, that's another thing. And I'm not really qualified to speak on this, but this is the community that I grew up in. Mental health and suicide in, I will say I don't want to say, I'm going to try and find the words, Jesus. You give me a minute. We'll say in, I don't want to say, you know, fuck it. I grew up around all black people. The only person I've ever really loved as a mother was a black woman. My best friends have predominantly been black. It just is what it is. I'm not saying I can speak for this, but I can tell you that there are problems in that community that nobody speaks about that lead to this kind of shit that nobody talks about. But there's also the stigma in the community itself that, you know, you just don't kill yourself. You don't fucking do that. And I thank God that was like that for whatever reason, that mentality, that community, that sense of like unified thought was also put into me at a very young age, because I might not fucking be here. But the idea is that doesn't happen because these things aren't happening is also still very detrimental. So as unqualified as I am to say this, as you know, a light-skinned Puerto Rican Irishman, um, it's important to have conversations throughout your community. No matter what the fuck that community is, no matter the color, no matter the, the ethnic background, whatever, check on people. Don't just be like, oh, that dude's crazy. He's always trying to fight somebody. He's like, but maybe that person is always trying to fight somebody is always trying to get killed. Like maybe that person that's always, drinking themselves, I know myself, I'll speak to this in a little bit, is maybe they're trying to kill themselves with alcohol. Maybe there's more to this than just that dude's wild. That dude crazy. Like stay away from that person. Da 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 da. You know what I mean? And to speak on the alcohol bit, people don't just kill themselves outright. Like, boom. That's not what's happening. All right. What's happening is that people are taking slower approaches. Myself, I used alcohol. I used to drink literally constantly. I would hide it. I would just everything you could think about with alcohol, I used to do so that I could essentially slowly kill myself or kill myself in a way that wouldn't make people think I killed myself. You know what I mean? And the real shitty part of that is I was trying. All right, I would drink constantly. I smoked constantly. I'm talking like 3 packs of cigarettes a fucking day kind of smoking and drinking to go along with it. Like there was no chill at all. And like I hid a lot of my drinking, even though people just think I was kind of a dick all the time. I was really just mostly drunk 24/7. And I mean, not that I wasn't a dick. That's not an excuse. Like I was just a drunk dick. But the truth is, the entire time for years, I was slowly just trying to kill myself because I had no future. Nobody who's lived the life that I have has lived past 30 out of jail. Sorry. No, that's hyperbole. There is 5% of people who have lived the life that I've been through that make it to 30 without being in jail or dying. I don't even know the numbers for 35, but I'm pretty sure it's less. You know what I mean? And the problem with that is that I know it. really, there's no other way to put it. The problem with that is that I know it. Is that I know these statistics and I'm smart enough to understand, but that makes me special. That doesn't make me status quo. That doesn't make me anything. All right? I know I'm special in the fact that I'm able to fight this off for 29 years at this point. 29 years, day in and day out, thinking I should fucking kill myself. At least a handful to a dozen times a day. And not just a little, oh God, I'd fucking kill me. Like, no, not just that. Like actual, like momentary microcosms of contemplation of genuine fucking suicide. And that's what people don't get is these things aren't instantaneous. They don't have to be. They're not this instantaneous calamitous event. A lot of times, much like with Etika, you can see these things happening. You can see the cracks forming in the ice that is this person's like psyche or soul or whatever the fuck you want to use. You can see these cracks forming and you can see people jumping on the ice. Laughing, saying, "Ha, look how weak the ice is. Look how weak the ice is." And that is the. I feel like I'm rambling. I feel like I'm getting lost in my own anger at how people treat this. Like, I know for a fact that one of the reasons that people feel that suicide is the only out and the only answer is because they have no one, because they feel they have no one that they can genuinely speak to about these kinds of things, and they feel like they don't have the wherewithal, gumption, intellect, emotional fortitude, what have you, to be honest and succinct. And as you can tell throughout this little stream thing, I have not been succinct. All right, that is a fact. All right, but That's because there's so much more to suicide than just like there's obviously like depression, there's like manic thoughts, there's like, for me, I have constant auditory hallucinations. I have the feeling of bugs crawling in and out of my skin like 24/7. Like that is, I have to stop myself from scratching. I used to like literally scratch my legs raw, like bloody raw, because I just felt things crawling out of my body. I used to have scratch marks up here. I would just, it was really bad. And it basically took me getting the shit kicked out of me for it, for me to like stop, which is how I learned to not respond to the things I hear, how I learned to not respond to like the things I feel, how I learned so much of how to hide everything wrong with me is because I got punished for it violently. And now that I'm an adult and now that I'm of age to like, take care of my own fucking kids, I'm faced with these internal struggles that I didn't realize I never had the chance to do. And granted, my life is so different. It generally cannot be compared to like 95% of people in America. You know what I mean? And in that comes its own sense of loneliness. Like, when people are talking about how they grew up, I lie my fucking ass off. Because I don't have the same fucking experience as you do. Like, if I were to talk about my childhood, I'd be like, haha, remember when the guards would jab us with tramadol in the ass and we'd be out for like a day? Oh no, that didn't happen to you. Remember when you had to run out of the window and you spent like 2 weeks in a drainage ditch because you were running away from captivity? Remember the nail in your foot that other time you tried to run away from captivity where people were holding you against your will? Do you not? You didn't have that experience? That's crazy, I thought. But I digress. If I could have one wish, it would be for the world to have the compassion for people while they're alive that they have for when they are dead. Because not only do I feel like that would put, I don't want to say kibosh, but maybe dampen some suicidal tendencies, but it would also put the onus on the people that are being assholes about it. Like, how is it that it's cool to shit on somebody who's hurting? Like, that's literally kicking somebody when they're down. Like, are you the cool guy if somebody you don't even fucking know is on the ground hurt and you think, oh man, I'm such a badass, I'm gonna kick this dude in the face while he's down and doesn't notice I'm there? Oh yeah, I'm a bad motherfucker right now, and just start stomping on them. That is exactly the same fucking concept, only emotionally. And until people understand that emotional violence and physical violence equate to real damage, and we are coming so much closer to that every day. Like, as 2021 and the woke community starts to like educate people more and people start to really think, hey, holy shit, these are real fucking things. These things matter. It's not just the after effects that we should have to deal with. Maybe we wouldn't have to deal with the after effects if we cared while they were here. And therein, again, the issue. It's so easy and so acceptable to shit on people when they're weak. And that's one of the reasons I don't know if this is appropriate to say given the topic, but it's one of the reasons I feel like that we are held back as a species, as a human fucking species, because we refuse, patently fucking refuse to do anything for somebody else. As a species, we are selfish sons of bitches, and if anything has done anything to prove that, it's the pandemic. The pandemic, where people have literally, like, I will kill your grandma so I don't have to wear a face mask. Like, that's the mentality people have. I will not be even minutely hindered by this public safety epidemic So fuck your grandma. She can go fucking die alone, looking into an iPad, hoping her family was there. Because that's okay. That's okay because it's not my grandma. It's not mine. I don't have one of those. You know what I mean? So yeah, like that's the world we live in. And anybody who's worked fucking retail has definitely thought about killing themselves. Especially like maybe it's just me. I can't say anybody. But retail is so hard because people will literally get you fired to save $5 on some kitty litter. Like that's not that actually fucking happened. All right, a friend of mine rung something up wrong and and this bitch went absolutely bananas and got him fired so that she could save $5 on some kitty litter. Like, do you understand? That is the fucking American way. I'm getting off topic. Stay on course. I don't really want to talk about the thing I'm talking about, so my mind is really letting me. And that is a prime example. Even the people who are having these issues will do things in and of themselves to take them away from it to not have to deal with it. Like, I can talk about so many things right now because I don't want to talk about the one thing I'm here to fucking talk about. I don't want people to I don't fucking know, man. This is just really just screaming into the wind. Like, people don't care. People will never fucking care. We're all just here to shit on everybody. And that can't be the truth. That can't be the truth. Like, I want to be that change. I want to be that person that reaches out just to see how people are. I've been doing that for a couple of years now, just to fucking see. I've been doing these mental health streams, inviting people, doing what is essentially group therapy, putting myself out there. And every time I've done it, I've lost subscribers. Every time. Since I started doing these, I actually haven't gone up more than 5 or 6 in 2 years. But basically 2 years, I've gone up like 6 or 7 subscribers because I don't just stick to one thing. And that, for me, the whole YouTube wanting to box you into this singular fucking essence is, okay, I'm getting off course. Living every day is hard, no matter who you are. Thinking about other people while you're already living your own life, it's so fucking hard, and I get that. But if we can think about people negatively, if we can take shots at people negatively to boost ourselves, then why can't we help somebody and have the same effect? All right. Through my therapy, I've learned I don't even have a reward system. The part of my brain that is like, oh man, like I did a good job on this. I've accomplished something just doesn't fucking exist. I literally have no internal reward system because the only thing I've ever had to dictate my behavior is outside sources. So because of that, I just don't have that. And because of that, it's hard for me to find worth in anything that I do. And I can't be alone in this. I can't be the only person that can work all day on a project, get it done, and still feel like, yeah, I'm just a worthless piece of shit. I should have just fucking thrown that thing out the window, like right on top of me. Like, I should have jumped out the window holding that thing or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? It all boils down to compassion. Communal compassion, the things that we are able to say and do and how we treat those around us. Those are fundamentally huge things that I'll just say as Americans, we are the fucking worst at. And that is a hard statement, period, end of sentence. All right? As Americans, the worst thing we do is look out for each other. We do not do that. We do not do that at all. What we are looking to do is look out for billionaires. Again, God damn it. All right. I have a lot of stuff going on, and I think I'm just getting verbal diarrhea, so it's time for me to stop. This has gone on about 15 minutes longer than I thought and about 45 minutes longer than I wanted. So here we are. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to close with this, and this will definitely be the last thing. A life today is no more worth or worth less than a dead life tomorrow. So if we're so keen to praise somebody after they're dead, why can't we do that in their life? And we need to start doing it. We need to stop separating ourselves by whatever means necessary to put ourselves above the person next to us. And that's the real problem. Is the second the person next to you sees that you have a weakness, you're falling short, they will generally step on you to get where they're going. So, and it's in that stepping that people just get mushed down and down. And there's only so many times a person can get stepped on before they're like, yeah, let's just bury me and let people walk all over me that way. And I don't want to die. Like, I don't want to be dead. I don't want to miss the time with my family. I don't want to be taken away from a world that needs me, and a world that is my children's world, my wife's world, the microcosm of my existence. I don't want to not be there for the important moments that my children will need me. I want to be there to protect them so the things that happen to me can never happen to them. You know, and I know that in order for that to be, I need to be here. And I'm lucky that I have that. I'm lucky that I have a conceptual anchor that keeps me from listening to the worst things about myself and doing the worst things that I imagine. But it would be better. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's the thing. I don't see a better. Like, honest to God, like, however you want to feel about the stream, me rambling, losing track, losing myself, losing so much. The truth is, I hate me. Down to the bone. I don't like looking at myself. I don't like hearing myself. That's why I stopped talking years ago. Like, you don't realize it, but the people who know me, like, when they're around me now, they're like, why are you so quiet? This is weird. Because all I used to do was talk. And now I hate the sound of my own voice. I hate the way I look. I hate everything about myself. Because I've come to realize the roots of it. I've come to see all the broken pieces for what they are, and as I'm trying to put that together, all I can see is the negative space where there are no pieces. And all I can remember is how those pieces were taken away from me. And the fact that some of those pieces I could never get back. Period. That is just an absolute fact. And I have to make sure that my kids have the pieces that I don't, and that I have to recognize the various pieces. And being as broken, being a kaleidoscope human where people can see a beauty in you that you can't see in yourself is punishing. Because my wife tells me how great I am and how strong I am, and she's so incredibly fucking supportive. She is an absolute rock. I have tremendous respect for her as a human, for the shit she puts up with me. Like, but the truth is, she doesn't know either. Like, I had a couple months ago, I broke down because I told her, like, I don't know how I keep on living. All I feel is pain 24/7. I can't walk. I can't move without fire just shooting throughout my body. My brain is so broken that I constantly hear basically 100 TVs, some of which are on static, some of which are on like TV shows, all changing channel at random intervals 1,000 times in any given minute. Like, the amount of raucousness that I have every fucking day that will never fucking end. the pain every fucking day, every step, and it's never gonna go away. And I can't think positively. I can't be like the positive thing I want. And I'm trying to be a stronger, better person than any example I've ever fucking been given. And it's this impossible task. And people who are normal only see me as a failure. People who don't even choose to try to understand will only ever see this person struggling through pain, inside, outside, every kind of pain you can almost imagine, let alone PTSD from shit I'm just never going to talk about, from being bought and sold. I literally had a foster family refer to me as reparations because my name was too fucking hard. Like, you don't get, like, people don't get the shit. And I know everything I've went through is literally for nothing. It will the only thing it will ever do for me is bring me pain, bring me anguish, bring me sleepless nights, which I don't even now. I sleep like maybe every other fucking day if I'm lucky. When I was in college, I went 4.5 days, almost 5, a full fucking week without sleep. I nearly died. Like, legitimately in class, passed out so hard my nose was bloody. Like, I almost broke my nose on a table because I just lost myself and went straight fucking down. Like, there's so much normal shit that I just don't get, that everybody just sees as normal, that I can't, it's like sand through my fingers. I can't fucking wrap my head around it most of the time. And all I want to do is be better for the people that I have in my life. But I could never feel like I'm better. I never feel like anything I do matters. Like, even now that my son's reading, and it took like years to get that to fucking happen due to the autism and delays that causes and such. And I still, there's no pride in it. Like, I'm happy. I want people to know, but I'm like, nobody fucking cares. Like, what, nobody fucking cares. Nobody fucking cares. And that's the thought that echoes through my mind a million times a second. Nobody fucking cares. No matter how much my wife tells me, even though, and this is not, what I'm about to say is not a condemnation on her, people don't talk like that. They're not like, oh, hey, baby, I'm happy, high five. Like, I had to tell my wife that I thought she was going to leave me. Like, listen, I don't know what's going on. I want us to make it, but I just feel like you're so unhappy, and that, like, I don't want to lose you. Like, you're important. We have a family, this, that, and the third, da, 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 da. And she was confused, and she's like, baby, I feel like I'm living my best life here. Like, we're doing good right now. And I lost it. I started crying because she never, like, it's really hard to go through a relationship loving somebody you think is in a situation they hate. Like, I genuinely thought she was only here so that, just for the kids. You know what I mean? Like, I'll just be honest. Like, once the kids are 18, she is leaving, and before that, we're all, you know what I mean? And it just, that wasn't the case. And I would have never known unless I broke down and was like, what? And unless I broke down. Like, and just the dynamic of that is I have to be at a point weak enough to essentially beg somebody to tell me what I can do to be better, because I know how broken and it's all my fault and you must be unhappy with me and I'm ruining everything and I'm dragging us down and I'm this weight around your neck. You'd be a better doctor if it wasn't for me. If I was better with the kids, you can actually still be fucking practicing and da 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 and this, that, and the third. And that she had to tell me, no, I'm living my best life. Because that's the truth about what happens. People build up their own mountains of negativity, and if there's no one there to be like, that's not a mountain, sir, that is in fact at best a speed bump for this and this reason. And I don't know. I don't fucking know. I feel like I'm rambling. I should have just fucking shut up 20 minutes ago. All right, I'm just gonna go. I appreciate everybody who's been here. I'm sorry you can't comment. I don't know if you can comment later. I don't. I appreciate whoever is here. Yeah, I'm gonna go. This is the no. There we go. This over here is the suicide hotline helpline. Just call that if you need it. Don't be ashamed or nothing. I'll admit that I haven't and don't intend to use it, but maybe that'll change. Who knows? This has been Captain Valen. Kind of going off on a couple of rants. I didn't really have anybody here to center me this time. But yeah, it's been Captain Valen reminding everybody that life happens in every direction. So let's be compassionate and let's just ask questions. See who in your life is okay and who isn't. Because you don't want one of the directions that life happens to take somebody away from you. And too often it's that's what we find. We find somebody's been taken away before we find the road that took them there. So with that in mind, just yeah. Life happens in every direction. Love people.